How's it going, and welcome to the Guitar Effect. In this video I'm going to be doing something a little bit different and taking a look at this NUX Cerberus bass pedalboard. And the reason I'm making this video is this is a pedalboard I use for a cover band that I play in, which is called Noughties, and we play the indie music specifically of 2000 to 2010. So we cover like The Strokes, Kings of Leon, Raconteurs, White Stripes, Kaiser Chiefs, all the music basically. Killers are in there as well that were big between 2000 and 2010. It's like a tribute night. It's a really, really good band, very, very enjoyable. For that band, I play keyboards, I play acoustic. I'm like the utility musician. I play synth, I play acoustic, I play electric, that's it, synth, acoustic and electric, right? But I play two different electric guitars, one that has a piezo and one doesn't. I have a synth rig, obviously, which is a lot to carry, so I needed a compact pedal board, but one that could do a lot. The Cerberus here from NUX, which I really think is like a mega sleeper pedal. This thing can do so much. This Cerberus, in this instance, is switching channels externally on my amplifier. It's got presets set up that's, some of them are set up for specific songs, and then one is my clean preset, one is my dirty preset, one is my heavy preset. It's switching the channels to achieve that. And then it's also using the onboard overdrive, distortion and effects in those sounds as well. Then the other things that are on this board are, as you can see, there's a Digitech drop. It's the 2000s band. We have to play No One Knows by Queens of the Stone Age, so that is used just for that one song. Then over here I have a Mosky clone, and that's for like a mid-gain or a mid-hump gain boost. I have an expression pedal to control the volume on the electric by itself. I have a switch here to switch between my Telecaster and my 335, which will become apparent in the audio demo. I have a American sound from, in this case, a Moon. Should my amp go down, it's rooted in with an IR in the other output. So there's two outputs, there's a left and right output. The right output has an IR and the left output doesn't, so that's permanently sent to the PA in case my amp goes down. I have a DI box here for the piezo signal, so that sends the piezo signal direct to PA. And then I have, as you can see here, I have this patch bay on the back, and that handles the send and return from the Cerberus and the two outputs. So it's pretty compact, and it's a Pedal Train Nano 24, and it's powered by this ISO 5 Harley Benton with this Palmer PWT04 expansion box underneath. So it's pretty affordable board, like nothing here. Most expensive thing on here would probably be the drop, I'd say. I think the drop is even about €100. So this pedal probably can be put together for something around 350, 400 euro. And it does an awful lot. So there's two things. I want to show its capacity to have acoustic, electric clean, electric dirty, electric heavy all in one song. I can't play any of the songs, obviously, that the cover band does, because I get a copyright strike. So I'm going to take one of my original band songs and use this to play it. So in here will feature acoustic, electric clean, electric dirty and electric heavy all in one song. So this is Kangaroo by Kampala, and all the sounds you're hearing here are coming from the Telecaster with the acoustic pickup for the acoustic stuff, and then the Cerberus is producing all the effects. So have a listen. This is all coming from this pedalboard. So there you go. I don't think I need to do any more of an intro on it. As you can see, it's capable of delivering a lot of different sounds, and it's compact, it's reliable. The Cerberus is really sturdy and rugged, it's not going to break. This is the third time I've bought the Cerberus, actually, it's a great unit. So the best thing that we can do now is I'm going to do an audio demo showing you how it does all the different things it does. Okay, so this is a really complicated setup. It has to handle a huge amount of different tasks, as I mentioned in the intro, right? So I'm going to go through the thing item by item. The first thing I'm going to say is the NUX Cerberus, which you can see here, okay? That's the kind of, it's like the controller of everything, right? So at the back of the NUX Cerberus, you can see this box here, right? This one here. What that is a NUX PMS2 MIDI switcher. And what that means is it takes a MIDI cable in, and at the back of it, there are 3 TRS switching jack outputs. So what will happen is every time I change a channel here, I can set it to select clean, dirty, or heavy on the amp that I use live, right? Which is a Koch Studio Tone 20 head through a pair of vintage 30 1x12 cabinets. That's the setup I use live, and the clean, dirty, and heavy sounds make up a huge portion of the different tones that I use for this band, right? Now, I don't have the head here because it's out in my band's rehearsal room, so what I'm doing is I'm using the 2 Notes Revolt, which is the amp I use for doing all my demos here at home, as a stand-in for it. However, it doesn't have a TRS switching input. So what I'm going to do is I'm literally going to change channels by hand as I go through, but if I was doing this in real life, every time I change patches here, like just for example, this is clean, this is dirty, and this is heavy. Every time I change patches, it would change the sounds in the amp, right? So to explain how this is all routed, guitar comes out, oh yeah, and this is my Quartz Source, which is a 335 copy from Quartz, really brilliant 335 copy, very, very, very hard to find, much better than any Epiphone I've ever tried or any Sire I've ever tried. It's just a really, really great, I think they're about like 15 years old, they're very, very hard to find. I have a demo on this guitar actually, which I'll stick up here. So the guitar goes into the Cerberus, then it goes through an analog boost, it goes through a overdrive, which is like a Morning Glory style thing, a Blues Breaker style thing. It gets way more gainy than a Blues Breaker though. Then through a distortion, which to me has a sort of a OCD kind of sound off it. Then it goes out in an effects loop, right? So it has an effects loop, and the boost, drive, and distortion are before the effects loop, and then it comes back in after the effects loop and goes through the mod, which has 2 sides. It has one side to switch between Univibe, Phaser, and Tremolo, and the other side has 3 different chorus options, right? And then it goes through reverb, which is 3 different options of hall, plate, and spring. And then the other side is delay, which has analog, tape, and digital, right? They're all selectable on a patch-by-patch basis. At the end, you'll see this external foot switch. And how this works is, right, let me just show you. So at any point, in any patch, I can turn on the modulation here, which in this case is a phaser, and I can turn on or off the reverb here. Okay, generally I tend to leave the reverb on, right? So the way I have to set up, most of the gig will be straight up in either 1D, 1C, or 1B. 1D is my first sound, my clean sound, 1C is my dirty sound, and 1B is my heavy sound. The last patch I'll come on to in a minute, right? Most of the gig I'll spend in these 3 sounds, and then I'll use this external clone from Muskie as an overdrive boost should I need one. Okay, so here's the clean sound. When I hit the second patch, it turns on the distortion channel of my amp, which in this case will be this. It's a little bit loud, I'm just going to turn it down a little bit. So what that is that's a dirty channel on the 2 Notes Revolt, but it's standing in for the dirty channel on my Koch amp, which I always use live. And then when I hit the third switch, it switches to the heavy sound. So most of the gig I'll switch between them, and I can do that just by selecting each one of these patches, right? Now, in any one of these, go back to the first one here, clean sound. In any one of these, I can then hit the same switch again, it goes into edit mode. And what this means is now all of the switches control the onboard effects, okay? So right now, for example, I can turn on the onboard overdrive. I can turn on the onboard distortion. I can turn on the chorus and the phaser at the same time, but I can turn off the phaser here. You can hear a subtle chorus there, or I can turn on the delay. So that means that within any song, generally the way this works is I'll be in, oh, and I can turn on the boost. Really, really, really handy. So I pick whatever song I'm on, I pick whatever my starting tone is, and then I'll use either the external clon as a gain boost, or I'll use an individual effects within it should I need it. For example, on one of the songs, I need a phaser and a delay, so I switch them on in here. But I can just switch off the delay and go back to preset mode by holding down this tap switch, and it goes back to preset mode. Then I can switch between whichever sounds I want. So that's what the Cerberus does, right? But then separate to that, if I go to the last patch here and hit the edit switch, this is what I use for all the stroke stuff. As opposed to having a amp gain sound, which like the Raconteurs does, the White Stripes do, the Dandy Warhols does, the Fratellis do, all that uses amp gain. The Strokes has a very sort of lo-fi pedal orientated sound. So I have this set up here for, this is my like overdrive sound for Someday and Last Night. So that goes like this. Or for Last Night. It's a really, really subtle overdrive. Almost clean, and then for the heavier stroke stuff, I have the distortion set up. And then I can use the boost and the extra gain from the clon for the solo. Bit loud. So I have 3 different sounds available there. I've got a distortion, I've got an overdrive, which are the 2 different textures for the strokes, and then obviously as well on Juicebox, which is the song we do, there is a intro where it's like got this tremolo on, this really fast tremolo, and it uses a volume pedal swell-in, which sounds like this. And in the solo it's there as well. And then I can just switch off the tremolo. Works a treat. It's just so handy to have all this at your feet. So therefore I can have amp drive, or I can use the onboard distortion sound should I need them. And that's basically the nature of how the whole thing's made up. And then I go back out to preset mode. I've one more preset that I think is worth showing. If I go into Bank 2, there's one song that has some pretty elaborate switching, and that's One by Snow Patrol, right? So it has 3 different patches. So it starts off with this lead line that goes like this. And that has a shimmer reverb, it has a tremolo, and it has the onboard overdrive from the Cerberus. I go into the next section, which is the chorus. It turns on a kind of fake rotary using the chorus. Again, the overdrive's on. And then in the last part, I switch here and it turns on a really heavy sound for the solo at the end. And I have the delay set to it to be in time with that song. And that's all the different patches I use for the whole gig, right? So just to talk about the other things that are happening here then. So there's this a Moon American sound, which is in the effects loop before my preamp of my amp. Should my amp ever go down, I can just turn that on and I can blag my way through the gig using the onboard effects. It just is an amp replacement. And also, the Cerberus has the capacity to put a cab sim on one of the outputs and not on the other, right? So below, there's a DI box here, which I'll talk about in a minute, but below that you can see the silver box, and that's a patch bay. So at the back of that I have the output that goes to my amp, I have the output that goes to the PA with the American sound, should I ever need to use it, and then I have the send and return. So they're all in one place at the back of my pedal board. It's really neat. And also obviously I couldn't access the back of those for plugging them in and out on the Cerberus because there's other stuff in front of it, right? Okay, then the other thing you can see here is a Digitech drop. Let me just go back to the dirty sound. I use a drop for one song. As we're in a Noughties band, you obviously have to play Queens of the Stone Age. So that sounds like this, No One Knows, which goes. So without the drop, it's up in E. With the drop, it just drops down to C for that one song. And then I turn on the clon for the heavy part. You get the idea. Brilliant. Saves me having to bring another guitar. I think I picked the drop up for €80 second hand. Really, really useful pedal just for doing that one thing. There's a volume pedal here, which is just a volume pedal for the electric sound. The reason I say electric sound is, so there are other songs in the set where I need an acoustic. And this is where the switching thing kind of comes in. So right now, my electric is attached, my Cort is attached with this wireless transmitter, and then the wireless receiver is plugged in here into this ABY box. So when it comes to a point in the song where I need to play acoustic, I also need to play electric at the same time. So how I do this is I get this guitar and I put it down and I hit this switch. Now, if I grab my tin line Telecaster, I now have an acoustic and I have a electric sound at the same time. So there's a switch on the guitar here, right? There's what's called a Graphtec Ghost system. I've tried nearly every acoustic pickup and this is by far the best one. So the switch basically goes up for acoustic, middle for both, and down for magnetic. Obviously these are the magnetic pickups, right? So if I go up to acoustic, I'm just going to unmute the acoustic so I can hear myself. So what's important about this is the acoustic on this guitar is not routed through the Cerberus or anything. It goes in and goes straight back out again, and that's what this DI box up the top is for, the little Moore mini DI. So it has it's just a little DI box, and what happens is the Telecaster has this output here, which is a TRS output, right? So the TRS output comes into a TRS splitter box below this AB box. And the acoustic sound, there's two outputs here. The acoustic sound goes off to the I box and the electric sound goes into the other input in the ABYs. What that means is every time I hit this switch, I'm switching between the electric pickups in this and the electric pickups on the 335 here beside me. And that's how that works. So I picked this up when I'm having a song that needs an acoustic part, and which I'm going to do now actually. So it's back here. I hit this, and this, right? Clean sound. So you can see there's an electric sound there, right? So this is a song by a band called Travis called Sing, and the verse part is all played in acoustic and it goes like this. But then when it comes into the chorus, I need to play this kind of lead part in the chorus, so I simply bring in the electric sound, and I already have my phaser delay on. It goes. Then back to the verse, just bring the electric sound out. Now what I'm going to do is I'll put some reverb and EQ in the acoustic, because that will be on the acoustic going into the desk. And so that's kind of the acoustic sound on this, but also allowing me to simultaneously play the electric, but also the electric still goes through the Cerberus rig and into my guitar amp, but the acoustic goes straight to the PA, which is what you would want. It takes a lot of kind of planning and thinking to make all this routing work in such a small pedal board, but it really does an excellent job. And I think the Cerberus having MIDI out, which allows me to use the PMS2 to change channels on my amp, is a huge part of that. Not all kind of affordable MIDI effects have MIDI out. One massive drawback though is the Cerberus doesn't have any way of saying, when I hit a switch, I'm just going back out to preset mode. When I hit a switch, send a specific MIDI PC command, right? So what I mean by that is when I hit switch 1, it sends PC1. When I hit switch 2, it sends PC2. I can't say, when I hit 1, send PC3. When I hit 2, send PC1. And when I hit 3, send PC3 again. You cannot specify what MIDI command you want to send, which is massively limiting. But the great thing about the PMS2 is it is a smart MIDI unit, which means that you can use it to select whatever channel you want with whatever one of these switches. It's very hard to explain, but it works, and it works really, really well. So that's the entire pedal board. As I said, it's on a Pedal Train Metro 24. It's small, compact, light. I can throw it over my shoulder with two guitars on my back. This pedal board in one hand and my amp head in the other hand, and just go into the gig and off I go. It just works a treat. Really happy with this pedal board. So there you go. That's the pedal board. So there you go. The Cerberus pedal board. If you're looking for a compact unit that can do really, really great switching, check this out. I think all the different elements in this pedal board, as I mentioned in the intro, are pretty affordable. And if you want any like help, if you want to go down this road, like putting together this sort of routing it or anything, just hit me up in the comments section below. I'll be glad to talk about it. Any questions, throw them below. And if you have watched this far, as always, I say thank you and ask you to please like and subscribe. It helps the channel out massively. And there you go. I think this is going to be my last ever video about the NUX Cerberus, because I've made so many of them. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in another video again soon. Take it easy. Bye bye.